People are going to be very upset no matter what the decision is on this trial. What can you do? Stay tuned. You're watching Timeless Talks, timeless subjects, information for life. This particular trial has got a lot of emotions tied into it. And as we have already seen in all kinds of media, there are two extremes in this particular case. There are those who believe, on one hand, how that Derek Chauvin ought to be acquitted completely of all charges because he was doing what a reasonable police officer should do. On the other hand, there are those who believe that he ought to be convicted of all the charges and convicted and executed and crucified and stripped of everything and done just like Jesus. That's how bad they want to get rid of him. And just in the days of Jesus, there are two extremes. And all of us are going to fit somewhere in that spectrum. What can you do? You can do the same thing that Jesus did. But before I tell you those, we need to understand what is going on in our world. And if it is something that is biblical, well, it certainly is. We're certainly told in the book of Deuteronomy, where, according to chapter 12 at verse 8, Moses told them you shall not do according to all that we are doing here today, everyone doing what is right in his own eyes. Well, that's the kind of situation he was in. Well, he died, and before King Saul came along, in this interim period, there were judges. We read in Judges chapter 17, at verse 6, it says, in those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Isn't that how people are reacting in this case, either on one extreme or the other, or somewhere in between? Yeah, what is right in their own eyes. And thus, we're going to see some kind of reaction. Whenever the jury gets finished, it's going to be ugly. Someone they may not write, but on the other hand, they're going to talk really bad and say that the judicial system needs to be changed. And others are going to be violent if the other case happens. What can we do, though? There's two answers that Jesus himself demonstrated for us. What did he do? Well, when we read in John chapter 5, after he had fed 5,000 people, they wanted to take him and make him a king. And what did he do? The Bible says that he went off away from them. His calming influence, the same thing that you can do, is that he left the group. He let things calm down naturally without him being in there and stirring things up and making things worse. He just simply left. And there's another occasion over in John chapter 8 where a woman was caught in the very act of adultery, it says. She could have been convicted in any court, and they threw her before Jesus and say, what do you say? He had to make a decision. And what did he do? He gave actually no decision. He tossed it back gently, calmly, peacefully, told the people, if you're without sin, you cast the first stone. And then he went back to doodling in the dirt while they thought about what he had said. And they all went home. And even then, even after that, Jesus gave the guilty person a second chance. Go and sin no more, he told her. What can you do? In this particular case, I'm going to suggest that we do one or the other, and it's decided by which group we are around. If we're around those who are agitated and say he ought to be strung up, if you're very, very, very careful, and that's really hard to do, you can inject the peaceful ideas, but they will probably get slammed if it's very agitated at all. So your thing would be to do nothing. Move yourself away from it. Simply say, I'm not going to be a part of a discussion like this, and walk away from it. Don't watch it on Facebook. You see somebody coming up and reposting don't be a part of it. Second thing that you could do, if necessary, is if you know the people that you're talking with and you do have a good relationship with them, speak calmly, slowly, peacefully, gently, and calmly speak to the situation and how that we need to calm down, we need to slow down and do what Jesus would do. Now, which way are you going to do? You're going to do one or the other. If you're watching this, you're a Facebook man or a YouTube thing, and they're all over everywhere. Do what Jesus would do. If you're on Facebook, we hope that you'll like our page, Timeless Talks with Tim. Or if you're watching on from YouTube, we hope that you will subscribe to our channel and become part of the people who are looking for good answers to their own personal situations and the problems that they have and getting ready for eternity. We can do both of these. Let's work together. And we look forward to the day when timelesstalks.net will be launched. We thank you for your prayers and your hope. If we can serve you in any way, let us know. Until next time, may the good Lord take a liking to you. Goodbye for now.